I find myself getting more and more militant because I do not understand how adults who are in position of responsibility can be avoiding responsibility for taking away those things that are killing people on a daily basis.
Got that? Climate czar John Kerry at the COP28 conference in Dubai. Yeah, same guy in the windsurfer. And yes, the climate change profiteers allowed an oil state, Dubai, to host a climate change conference. It tells you everything you need to know about the climate change movement. Anyway, a now militant John Kerry says he can solve the climate change problem by eliminating coal-fired power plants.
Now, we don't need that necessarily to tell us we ought to be transitioning out of coal. There shouldn't be any more coal-fired power plants permitted anywhere in the world.
And he says there won't be in the United States. The very easy thing is to make fun of Kerry windsurfing or the climate change czar who flies in a polluting private jet to, well, everywhere. It's more accurate to point out, though, that eliminating coal-fired power plants in the United States will only increase electricity costs for all of us, which have risen 25% since the pandemic started. Bill O'Reilly is here, host of the No Spin News, author of Killing the Witches, the horror of the Salem witch trials in Massachusetts. Good to see you, sir. As always, I feel like this is indicative of sort of this larger class divide now between those who are concerned about climate change and those like the rest of us who are concerned about paying our electric bills.
Everybody should be concerned about climate change. I'm a big environmental guy. I want the cleanest planet possible. But you don't punish working people all over the world, poor people, by throwing out fantasies like John Kerry. So the problem with the former senator is that he lives in a world of his own, a bubble world. I don't want coal plants, but the only way you get away from that is nuclear energy. Does Kerry support nuclear energy? I've never heard him say he does, ever. Now, we have technology that makes nuclear energy viable. All you have to do is go to France. All right, about 80% of their energy is nuke, but not Kerry, no. What Kerry wants to do in his bubble is virtue signal. He wants to show his constituency, liberals and progressive, that he is socially conscious and aware of the planet damage, which is happening. The planet's being damaged by a shift in the climate. What we don't know is if this is a natural cycle or not. What we do know is there's far too much gunk, G-U-N-K, being spewed into the air. So let's take wind, for example. Out on eastern Long Island, where I live, they got windmills in the ocean, okay? Well, the windmills were estimated to be installed at one number, and now it's 10 times that number. And the windmills that surround Block Island, Rhode Island territory, break like every week. They break, all right? So the enormity of the cost to generate wind makes it impossible for working people who have to air condition and heat their homes. They can't pay more utilities, John Kerry. Now, Kerry doesn't have to worry about that. He's as rich as he can get with his wife, Miss Hines, the Heinz ketchup Contessa, okay? But it disturbs me that Kerry avoids realism like nuclear energy. And I'm not going to attack him personally. Maybe he's not smart enough to make that analogy.
Look, you make a great point that there's ways to deal with climate change. There's ways to deal with virtue signaling, and people have to pick about which one they do. I want to congratulate you on Killing the Witches. When you came on a couple of months ago to promote the book, you talked about how it was so insightful and important to the times we are going through today, sort of to the orthodoxy way of thinking on various issues. 250,000 copies in 2 months, I think you said, and that's before we get to Christmas. Why do you think it's resonated so much?
Because there's a witch hunt now in this country. There's not a man safe. Not one single man in the United States is safe from an accusation that can destroy your employment, your family, and your life. Nobody. And if you're accused, you better have $1 million to defend yourself. So we're not putting ropes around people's necks anymore, but we're destroying them. And in Killing the Witches, regular folks I write about today, and these people were falsely accused, and we tell their story. It's harrowing. Not to say that there aren't cases that need to be adjudicated and people need to be punished. That is true. But the denial of due process and all of this crazy stuff, this hysteria, is much like what happened in Salem. So Killing the Witches, phenomenal success. Hope people will consider it for a stocking stuffer. It's not as bleak as it seems, but there's a lot of good history in it.
No, important history, too. Otherwise, if we don't know it, we will be bound to repeat it. I think I read that somewhere. Bill, it's good to see you as always. Thanks. We'll talk before Christmas. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.